Welcome to Help, I Have Kids. I'm your host, Pam Marshall, a mom of 5 and a pediatric occupational therapist with over 35 years experience. This podcast is designed to equip you with practical tools, insights from experts, and real-life stories. Because at the end of the day, you are the head of your child's care team. Each week, you'll hear from pediatric experts and fellow moms like you that will help build your confidence. They'll offer clarity and empower you to make informed decisions that work for your whole family. Today's guest is super special to me. It's my very own husband, Jim Marshall. Excited to have you. We raised 5 kids together, and today we're going to fill you in on some stories, share a few laughs, maybe share a few failures, and hopefully this will be encouragement to all you moms and dads, if you're listening out there too, because we know you're in the middle of it. We know what it feels like. So glad to have you.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Today, I know a lot of listeners have gotten to know me, but they don't know anything about you. So tell us about yourself.
Okay. Well, I am Jim Marshall. Grew up being called Jimmy. And my brothers and sisters, I was the youngest of 5, were determined to call me Jimmy.
Yeah. And fun fact, your family is the same as our family. So our birth order is boy, boy, girl, girl, boy. And you had the same. You were the boy, the youngest.
I was the youngest, am the youngest. And so my dad was a pastor forever. My mom was a school teacher. And that's how I grew up. But I found a love for sports and a love for football real early on. And so got to play college football. And that has just been a joy of my life. Just sports and football and watching our kids play sports. But then I became a pastor after going to college for business management. I became a pastor who worked with kids and children for kids and youth for lots of years.
Yeah, most of our married years, we've always, both you and I as a career, have worked with kids and families.
Yeah. So 29 years being a pastor, and then Pam invited me to join her to work in Marshall Pediatric Therapy. And so I couldn't see it for a lot of years. And then one day I woke up and just felt like it was time.
It's time. And now we get to help lots of kids and families together, which is really fun. So watching our son play college football, what's that like?
It is one of my favorite things. I'm super nervous before the games, more nervous than I was when I played. And,
I agree with you. I'm super nervous before the games too.
Yeah.
Super. I call it the pregame jitters. I can't eat. I'm squirrely. Yeah.
It's really fun. I mean, it's so rare to get to watch your kids perform anything, especially beyond middle school. You know, beyond Little League soccer or baseball, you don't get to see your kids perform or do their thing. So to get to watch your 21-year-old perform, and some of our other kids perform too, it's been really, really fun, and just lots of joy in watching them just face adversity and press through it and celebrate. And so it's one of my favorite things.
Yeah. So that is a good thing happening in your life and my life right now, because weekends are college football, which is
we'll
fun.
get on the road tomorrow at noon and watch our son play the Citadel this weekend. So
that's exciting. So tell me a little bit about how you would describe your style of parenting as a dad.
Okay, on my best days, I'd be positive, gentle, consistent, loving on my best days. On my worst days, I would have a short fuse and give short answers, maybe give a kid the silent treatment, which I hated when my mom would give me the silent treatment. But on my best days, overall, consistently, I would say gentle, loving, encouraging would be what I like to be as a parent.
Yeah. And you were. I can attest, you were. And so do you remember our life? I feel like we had different seasons of parenting. Everybody kind of has that. And we moved. And as we moved, we remember a place where we just had one child, and then we had 3, and then we had 4, and then we had moved again and we had 5. So we have these different seasons and different homes we lived in. But thinking back, do you remember, what were some things you picked or we picked together as survival mode that got us through the days? What were some things you remember about that?
Yeah, I think something we learned is that when someone was at our house or with us on vacation, our kids behaved better.
It was more fun to go on vacation with other people.
It was more fun to have people over, to have people on vacation. They behaved better. They were embarrassed to argue in front of each other. So that was a survival piece that we learned. We had friends that we went to church with. We had people that would help us in the ministry.
Yeah. And we loved those friends. We wanted them to come with us. Loved to be around them.
Yeah. They didn't have the money for vacation, so we'd take them on vacation, pack them in the car with us, in the van with us, and they would endure somehow. And they got a free vacation, and our kids somehow loved being around them. We had an extra set of hands for cooking and cleaning.
And sometimes we had 3, 4, 5 people go with us. It wasn't just one.
Yeah. So they would make our vacations, our time away even better. But we transferred that to home, and we would do something called Monday night dinner, which is Monday nights we'd have dinner, but we'd always invite 1 to 3 to 5 people for dinner every Monday night. And our kids behaved really well at those. But not only behaved, they engaged in dinner. They talked. We would have a question of the night.
Yeah.
And it was really a day that we all looked forward to. Everyone was always on time for Monday night dinner. And we would ask the question of the night. And then there was always someone to celebrate. It was someone's birthday. So we'd get to celebrate that person. And one thing we would do is we'd go around the table and say, what's one thing you love about Kate on her 16th birthday, and everyone had something impactful to say.
And the kids loved it. They looked forward to it. They talk about it still.
Yeah.
And we'd always say to the people we were inviting, hey, we can make this short. You don't feel like you have to stay.
Yeah.
But it always turned into, 2.5 hours. People love just sitting around talking, hanging out.
Yeah.
And I remember our kids really looked up to the people we had over. I remember that.
Yeah.
That they enjoyed it.
They learned a lot. I mean, they got mentored by some people besides their parents.
And then our budget was kind of tight, very lean in those days. So I remember there was one night a week we'd go out to dinner when the kids were little.
Yeah.
Remember where that was?
Yeah. Fazoli's was a place that had free kids
or 99-cent kids meal.
Yeah,
free.
something like
it was
that.
Free for a while, I think, and then turned into 99.
Fazoli's was a survival place, and they let our kids busk. They let our kids were musicians, and they let a couple of our kids pull out their violin, put their violin case out, and people would drop by. They knew what busking was, and even if they didn't know what the name meant, but they would drop money in, and our kids would play, and we would all eat cheap Fazoli's once a week.
We would. That was total survival.
It was.
And I remember in Houston, before we moved to Kentucky, this was a long, long time ago, our youngest child was 5 asking to play the violin, and we were not musicians. We have no musical ability, really. And you took him down to the Astros game, was it?
Yeah.
The Astros?
Yeah, it was the Astros game, and he was determined to raise money for a violin and for lessons. So his older brother held the Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star sheet music up, and the second son was standing on the curb playing his violin, playing his heart out.
Terribly, probably at that time.
People walked by and dropped in a few dollars. It cost more money to go to the game than they made, but it got something spurred in him to understand that if he wanted to be a musician, he was going to have to figure out a way to pay for it.
Yeah. And fun fact, those two oldest boys, both are professional musicians. One's a guitar player and one's a violin viola player. And they do some pretty fun things. It's very fun to watch their careers. So who was the stricter parent, me or you?
I would say it depends on what the subject is. So if the subject was swearing, fighting, I was a little bit more strict. If the subject was
smoking,
I was a little, yes, smoking, or the stricter parent for studying and eating well and being clean. It's Pam.
I would say you were the yes guy. Like our kids knew, especially the girls. Girls, daddy is putty to the girls.
Yeah.
They could ask you something and you would just go yes. And I'd be looking at you like, what do you mean yes? That's a no.
Yeah.
That's a no.
Yeah, they melted me. The blonde hair and blue eyes. And girls are just soft and sweet and fun. And yeah, they melted me, and they really could do anything and
pretty much
get anything they wanted.
Pretty much. They knew not to come to me because I'd probably say no. So I would agree with that. You were an easy sell for them. So what's a moment, like we've had some really sweet moments, some really challenging moments, great moments, funny moments, and we've had some moments that just have stripped us of any like pride as a parent of thinking, oh, I think we're pretty good parents. We've had moments that just totally stripped us of even that, having that thought. But what's a moment that you remember that felt so serious at the time and now we can laugh about it?
Okay, I'll give you a choice because there's so many. So you pick A, B, or C. A,
okay.
Youngest child being left at home alone. That's A.
Oh.
B, busking with 4 kids playing strings at Keeneland and them driving home in tears in the van. That's B. Or C, 2 kids being arrested during the same week. Which one would you like to hear?
That was a really bad week. I remember that.
I can't believe I can laugh at any of those.
No, I know.
Which one do you prefer?
Probably the Home Alone story.
Yeah.
We can laugh now, but it was mortifying at the time.
Yeah, so I can't remember all the details, but I remember I was right and Pam was wrong.
Oh, no, we just basically, you thought I had him. I thought you had him. He was asleep in bed, like 4 years old, something like that. And I remember our second son had a school sports injury and had to go to the place where the school told us to go for, orthopedic. And you were focused on getting him there to that appointment. And I was focused on our daughter who was emotional and sensitive and ready to get her braces on. And it was such a big deal to her. And I was trying to emotionally support her. And literally in the rush of the morning, sometimes it took 3 hours for us to get all of our kids where they needed to go in the morning. Like that was the morning routine because we had 4 or 5 different schools. It was crazy. But I remember this particular morning, we were both focused on getting to these appointments on time. We got the other kids to the bus or to wherever they were going. And we both walked out of the house and he was still sleeping. And I wasn't that far away at the orthodontist, not too far from our home, like maybe 2 miles away.
Yeah, so I got a call from a neighbor who walked our neighborhood every day and would even pray for us when she would walk by. And she happened to see a little kid sitting on the front porch eating cereal. And she just happened to call me and asked if it was okay for our youngest to be out there alone. And I immediately called Pam and said, hey, have you already left? And she goes, oh my gosh. And we both had left him at home alone. And
I think the blood left my body. Like I remember getting that call and just feeling unbelievably sick. You have to remember, we work with children. We are, years of seeing hard things and abuse and kids in foster care because of abuse. And just, we've been around a lot of things and just how mortifying that we could do this, that we could have left our child at home was I think all the blood left me, and I just got in the car as fast as I could and got to him. But I knew he was in good hands. This woman had cared for him, and she was gracious.
It was embarrassing to both of us. It definitely hurt our pride.
Yeah.
And it really was the answer to all three of our scenarios that I named, 2 kids getting arrested, 4 kids crying after an incident at Keeneland, and this one left home alone, was community. People we knew moved toward us and helped us kind of walk through this embarrassment. Really rescued our youngest there on the front porch, and he was doing his thing, doing his routine all alone. But community around us was really, really helpful.
It was really helpful. I don't know how we could have parented without really close friends. Our family doesn't live close, or we've never lived around family, like in the same town as grandparents or aunts or uncles or family. So we've always found community other places, mostly through our church, through people that we're close to. And I think back, there's no way we could have done it without that community, without the love and support of people and people to cry to. Like when things are hard and you're really struggling, like people that we could just let our guard down around, and even have conversations, like realizing that week 2 kids got arrested in the same week. I just died to my reputation as a mom, like really had to just die to it, and realize that our kids' behavior is not a reflection of who we are. Somehow there's tentacles and strings attached to that, and I literally had to just snip them all and not be tied to how well my child behaves or doesn't behave, or the choices they make are not a reflection of me. Yes, I'm their parent, but they're their own independent person. And that was I don't know that I would have faced that had I not been through that hard week.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we've had the ups and the downs. And what's a moment, or what do you think? What do you think helped us? You talked about community. Is there anything else that you think helped us stay as a team? Because we were a really good team. We were on the same team. We used to, tell our kids that they can't separate us. They can't pit us against each other. It's not going to work. We're on the same team. We would say, what helped us be on the same team all those years, do you think?
Well, I think before we were married, we decided whether we would have an exit strategy ever in our marriage. And we decided there's not going to be an exit strategy, that we won't leave each other. We decided early on. Our faith helped reinforce that. So that was helpful, knowing that we were in it for the long haul. I think, like you said, helping everyone know that no one was going to get between us, that we were a team and we're unified. And that was really, really important to, even if I wasn't on the same page as Pam, to back her and to not let us be divided. The disunity, whenever we would run into disunity, it would cause all kinds of problems in the family. But if we could be on the same page and have each other's backs, everyone kind of gets on the same team when there's just one team.
Yeah.
So,
and you've been a steady, faithful, great father to our kids. You've just been great. So it's been not hard to be a team with you, to be stuck next to you in just your faithfulness. It's been a good journey.
Yeah, thank you.
What do you think we miss about having little kids in the house? All the pitter-patters and mess and slobbery kisses.
The noise.
Yeah.
Just the volume in the house is sad. Almost like we lost our dog a couple of years ago. And I could hear him in the house even after he had passed away. For sure I heard Boo running around. But just the emptiness of volume in the house is one thing I really miss, even though it's really, really quiet and peaceful. But that, I think, tears and laughter, maybe in the same 10 minutes, just emotion, joy in the home, and sadness and highs and lows, just learning along with our kids. Like Pam said, we watched them grow into being musicians and things we hadn't done, and watched them persevere through really, really hard things.
Yeah, they have.
Just kids' routines, the routines that you had to do. I loved driving our kids to school and just the talk time that I had. And
let's go the horsey way. We had this one way we would go and we'd see the horses. We'd always ask to go the horsey way.
Yeah, so just those conversations. We'd get up early for seasons and work out with kids in the morning, and then take them from McDonald's and then race them to their school.
How about those 5 a.m. swim practices, and then pick up again and feed breakfast on the way from swim practice to school?
Yeah, I think just the challenge and watching these amazing young minds and bodies just develop and grow. And it was beautiful and fascinating, really, really hard, really rewarding. But I definitely miss them. And people would say to us all the time, my parents used to say this, but it goes by fast. And I would go, I don't need to hear that. I'm worn out. I want it to go by fast. I just want to get to the next stage. But gosh, it blew by fast.
It really did. Faster than we ever imagined, for sure. Is there anything you don't miss? Like, I have one thing I can think of. One thing I don't miss, because I'm an early riser. I like to go to bed early and get up early. I remember all those teenage years, and especially when there were teenagers in the house and friends over and all that. They love to stay up so late, and it was always so painful for me. And the way our house is, our bedroom walls, like the other side was where the TV was. And so they'd be up late watching TV, and I feel like I would be like, oh, just go to sleep already. That's probably the only thing I don't miss is the late night.
Yeah.
Or wanting to talk at midnight, and I'm kind of dozing.
Yeah, I think I miss it all. I mean, and I've forgotten the things I don't miss.
Yeah.
Isn't that how it goes? You just forget the things that were so hard because the sweet memories are just louder, more clear.
So many sweet memories. I loved reading in the hallway. We were talking about that last night, how we miss that. Like, just the sweetness. Tell us about that.
There's one memory. It didn't last very long because of the age of the kids, but we had 2 kids in one room, 2 kids in the other, a hallway in the middle. The lights were off in both of the kids' rooms.
They were in bed.
Bed, clean bodies, all tucked in. They knew not to get out of bed. And we were reading another chapter in Willy Wonka's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah.
And I just remember loving the book, like being in the book, and the kids just wanting another chapter. One more chapter, please. One more chapter. And just those sweet moments of getting to read and then them listen. And that time didn't last long because then the kids moved to different rooms. We had to divide reading, and I'd read to the girls one night, the boys another night,
well,
the
do you
young
remember
one
why
another night.
That changed? So, we had a little surprise number 5 join the family, and we had to change rooms around. But I remember, confession, falling asleep while reading these fun books. I mean, we read all kinds of like classic books to them. And on nights when I was home reading and maybe you were at work or something, I remember sometimes dozing off, maybe before they did. I don't know. They'd be like, Mom, keep reading. Those are some good memories. So looking back, when you think about us as young parents, what would you say to young Jim and Pam parents?
Yeah, I would, we can laugh at some of the things we mentioned, some of the mistakes. We couldn't laugh then. It was too hard.
Yeah.
But if there's a way that I could help younger me and you laugh at those things, I would laugh. Because that is about the only thing that is helpful, is just not taking ourselves so seriously, not trying to be the perfect parent, laughing at our mistakes, just giving lots of grace to ourselves and our kids. I would say that would be helpful. I would say breathe, like when the tempers flare, because you're going to get mad as a dad or mom. Kids make you mad, like they push the buttons.
They know exactly which buttons to push. Yeah.
I think something that I've learned now that I'm older is just take a breath before I say a word. Mm-hmm. The words come out quickly, but if we can just go, like that's acceptable, and it's probably more effective to help everyone understand that, oh, Dad is really mad.
Yeah.
But just breathe, and it helps your brain and helps you settle down and get out of reptile brain. And so breathe, take a first breath versus a snide remark or a quick-tempered statement.
I think for me, I would say one of the things I would say to my maybe not even younger self, because when I think about like our two older boys as teenagers, some of the things they did, I would just be so brokenhearted, like take it so to heart. And like you, I think I would look at things a little differently, have a different lens and go, that's all right. It's not the end of the world. They made a bad choice, but I would be like crushed, and I think it had to do with I needed to snip those tentacles. Well, it eventually came and I snipped the tentacles that was, where I was reflecting my, the value of me as a mom based on their choices. I mean, kids make bad choices. And,
Can I tell one story about that?
Yes.
So we're on one of these vacations. We brought some friends and family on this vacation, having a great time. And Pam decided just to go down and say hello to the boys. They were in the hot tub. She went down and she was so excited to see them, and she knew something was up. And they're looking as guilty as can be. And then all of a sudden, they're in the hot tub, and Pam sees a cigar float up in the middle of them. They had been smoking cigars in the hot tub and put them underwater immediately. And then one of them released the grip on the cigar, and it floated. And they were in so much trouble, and they knew it. And Pam was devastated.
I'm like, how could these kids choose to smoke? How could they smoke cigars or smoke cigarettes or whatever they were doing? I was so brokenhearted.
Yeah. So you'd be less brokenhearted now.
Yeah, I'd be less. I'd be like, they're boys. They tried a cigar. Okay, move on.
Yeah. Yeah. I'd like to make some of those changes if I could go back and do that.
Yeah. So who lost the most socks?
I don't remember that because everyone did their own laundry real early.
Yeah, age like 6th grade, they got their own laundry basket.
Yeah, but I don't want to say his name, but the second one, the violin player.
The ADHD violin player who now has a big mustache.
He probably lost the most socks. I would just guess.
Yeah.
But he also was just hilarious and late and just
sweet.
Yeah, a beautiful soul.
Yeah, his middle name is Sweet. He's such a sweet,
for sure.
Sweet soul. Who got in trouble more often or the most?
Yeah, it was definitely a competition between 1 and 2, but I would say number 1.
Yeah.
Got caught more.
That kid had a very smart brain, and that brain just was going all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. Lots of thoughts.
Yeah.
Who was the funniest toddler?
I would say...
I think Natalie.
I was going to say number 4, second girl. I remember this one time I just splurged on a Halloween costume, and the Halloween costume was what?
Sully from Monsters, Inc.
So it was a really furry Sully
furry
costume.
Blue, cutest costume ever.
And we didn't have pets at home, so anyway.
At that time we didn't.
This was a couple weeks, maybe it was even after Halloween. Anyway, I got home, put this on her, and she was so excited. She was walking around, and the kids looked at her like she was a real pet.
Yeah.
Like they would pick her up. I mean, she was so dressed up. She just had her face showing, but...
And she was little, like maybe 3 or something.
Yeah. And they all would just like hold her like a new puppy. But she was like a puppy. She was so fun. She started riding a skateboard at a real early age. But
age 2.
Yeah, she was on this like skateboard that had handles, and she would just race around Houston when we lived there, Katie, West Houston, and then here in Kentucky. But
with a helmet on, knee pads, and elbow pads. We'd pad her up because she was trying to keep up with her brothers.
Yeah.
And she would just go for it. And then people would just look at her like, what? And she had this long ponytail, blonde ponytail, hanging out of her helmet in the wind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She would drop into skate parks with just all of her padding on and just hang with the big boys. But
I used to look at her, I'm kind of scared of heights. And she was this little tiny girl. We go to the skate parks early in the morning because none of the like big kids were up that early. And so we felt like it was safe time to take her. And she would just get to the top, and it's like a straight drop in, and she would just go on. And I'd be like, oh my word, no fear, just go. Keeping up with the boys.
Yeah.
So who do you think is most like us now as adults?
Yeah, I don't know who would want to hear that they were most like us. So
they maybe don't want to be anything like us.
I know. I'm a little careful here, but I do see a little of Pam in our youngest son and a little of me in our youngest son. I see our oldest daughter. I see a little bit of me. She's really tender-hearted, very, very smart, like Pam. So those are a couple that stand out to me.
Yeah. What encouragement would you want to give to dads? You know, this podcast probably has a lot of moms listening, but maybe they'll let the dads in the house hear this encouragement. What encouragement do you have for dads raising kids right now?
Yeah, I would say your greatest superpower is love and showing it. And love God first. Just love him with all your heart. Love your wife at a very close second. And no one gets in between 1 and 2. But then your kids at a very, very close third. And I know it feels impossible even to manage that love level. But even talking about that and keeping that in mind, that you're going to love God with everything you have, and you're going to love your wife with everything you have. And then, only then can you really love your kids. Like we talked before, we didn't want anything between us. And it's so easy for anyone or anything to get between spouses. And that diminishes the love that you can give to anyone else when you've got that division between the one that you've promised to love. And so I think just let your love be really loud, show it with your time with your kids. There's so many places that you can give love by just time. Like we said, reading books or driving in the car. Even if they're not talking, know that you've got this little window of talk time, and it'll be over. Once they start driving, your talk time with your child will go down to 10%. And once they've gone to college, it goes down to 1%.
Yeah.
And then after college, once a month.
Yeah,
and,
not much.
But I think the other thing is low expectations. Like low expectations on your wife, low expectations on your kids. Don't expect them to thank you back. Don't expect a birthday card. Like, just don't get your don't set your opinion on people based on what they do for you. Just do it because you love them and expect nothing in return. I know, very, very easy for me to say, dads, because I did it about 10% of the time, but it was helpful. It was effective.
Yeah, it was good. So what do you want listening moms to hear about the big picture of parenting? What do you think is helpful for that? Because you watched me. I had, we're talking about some lighthearted things, some minor hard things, but we had some really challenges in our parenting and very hard decisions to make as parents. And So, things that are personal that we wouldn't talk on a podcast probably about, but you watched me struggle as a mom. So what do you want to encourage moms with?
I would say to learn what makes boys and men tick, to not view them as hairy women. And that's something I've just learned from a coach. I'm doing some business coaching with a guy, and read a book on, a couple of different books on the subject. And we are such different species. We're not the same people. And women tend to think that men are just hairy women. And men often think that women are just buddies, guy buddies.
Yeah.
And it's not, but to learn the differences, like one of the differences that I think moms could really benefit from is that their boys are young knights and they're looking for adventure.
Yeah.
And to help enter into their adventure or let them adventure, let them explore, let them tear things up and
get dirty, get messy, get risky. Yeah.
The adventure is such a big part of a man's life from young to old, but especially, these sons that are 8 to 28, they are conquering. They're trying to figure out who they're going to be, but just to learn each other. I think that's what I would say to moms, and to know this, that your boys really, really love you, even though they may not be able to say it. But I remember my mom, you were talking about staying up late and listening to the boys. One of the things my mom would do, her name's Ann. She passed away a number of years ago, but she would wait up for me, and she had to be up at like 5 a.m. grading papers as a school teacher. But she would wait up for me at night, and I would sit down and I would tell her all kinds of stuff. I would sit down and tell her my dreams, and I couldn't believe that I was talking to my mom after being out with my buddies. And this is even up into high school. I'd, come back from a football game, and my mom would be up and she would just be waiting there. And it meant so much to me just to be able to talk and not get lectured. She would just
listen.
She would just listen.
Yeah.
And we just had these really sweet moments. And you can have these with your sons, with your daughters, but you're really, really valuable. And you're so overworked and underappreciated. I don't know if you'll ever get the appreciation trophy, but know that it's deep, deep in their hearts, and they really, really love you.
That's great. I love that you're able to share that with the moms. It's good advice. I can remember some of my favorite things with the boys, and our youngest always loved to bury his head right here, like when he was little, and even when he was older, he would come do that, taller than me, and bend down and just give me a hug. But just the sweetness of the connection, the physical connection with your kids, and keeping that physical connection with each other, like that's important as you journey through parenting. I hope, you've enjoyed this peek behind the curtain a little bit of our life, and that we were by far not perfect parents at all, struggling just like you. And we don't know how to be a parent. There's not a book that teaches you everything. You can read books that are helpful. But it's really choosing to enter into the joy and the laughter and the mess of it and the chaos of it, and building community around you and people around you to help you. So I've enjoyed this time because it kind of brought us back to remembering a little bit. It's been sweet to talk about the memories.
Yeah. Yeah, it was good to remember. And we started talking about this last night on our date night, and it was kind of hard. It took a little bit of time to dig back, but once we started digging back, it was like opening up, a photo album, old photo albums of like, oh yeah, I remember that. And you remember the feelings. And it's good to remember what you've done as a parent. Like you've done some amazing things. and it's really, really hard, and it's really, really worth it. And you're helping kids by being being you, and being your best you. I remember a man told me once, he said, what do you want your children to grow up to be like? And I named like 3 or 4 things, and he said, okay, here's how to succeed in this. Here's how your kids will succeed in growing up that way. You be that thing. You be those things. Like, you be you as an example to your kids. And I know that sounds heavy, but it may be really, really helpful for you to know that it's actually being you at your full self and enjoying life. But I really said that to say this to Pam. Pam at Marshall Pediatric Therapy, we have 5 values. One of the values is courage. And doing this podcast is such a courageous thing, because she's just putting herself out there, and I would not have done this because now you have an opinion about me, and you can say anything you want. But if I would have just stayed hidden, we may have not had this moment, where maybe you're encouraged. But Pam, because of your courage to do this, I think lots of people are gaining courage. Because of your courage, our kids will be more courageous. I'm being more courageous. So anyway, thanks for starting this podcast.
Thanks. So to sum it up, have no fear as parents. Just dive in. Have no fear. You can do it. We're so grateful for our listeners, and tune in next time. Thanks so much for listening to Help, I Have Kids. If you're tuning into this podcast, that means you're a mom who's curious, committed, and ready to learn. And we see you. We'd love for you to join our Help, I Have Kids Facebook community, where moms just like you are connecting, asking questions, and encouraging each other every day. It's a space for real conversations, expert insight, and support from moms who get it, because we're all in this together. And if you know a mom who's feeling unsure or maybe overwhelmed, or just needs to be reminded that she can do it, she can advocate for her child with confidence, share this episode with her. We're building a village here, and we're glad you're a part of it.